Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And how are you doing today? Well, it's a beautiful morning from this part of the world, and I want to confirm that we can all see my screen and you can hear my voice clearly. So if you can do so, please type in hi in the comment section so that we can get this session started. So if you can see my screen and you can hear my voice clearly, I'll need you to type in hi in the comment section so that we can get this session started. All right, great. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, 920. Good morning to you. Well, I'm doing fine here and trust you are doing well. All right, thank you, Carrie. Good morning to you. Hey, Innocent Babe, good morning. Thank you for that confirmation. Oh, Steamroller, how are you doing today? Glad to hear that everything is clear. Isla, thank you. All right. So I want to take this as a confirmation that we are good to go. So I welcome you to yet another promising session on the Extra and Speed Life Hub. My name is Sheriff Daramola, and as usual, I will be taking you on a trading journey in the next 1 hour where we shall be evaluating the financial markets using technical parameters to identify trading opportunities lining up for us today. Well, it's our culture here to do a review of what our of the pairs we've been monitoring since the beginning of the week. So we are going to first of all review all the pairs we traded yesterday. I think we did about 5 to 6 pairs yesterday, and I can see Innocent Babe talking about the gold here. So I will try as much as possible to inculcate this into our session for today. So, with that being said, let's dive into the chart and let's see what is going on in the market right now. As usual, the first pair we are going to be looking at today is the US oil, and on the US oil, we Oh, oh, can you hear me now, please? Oh my goodness. I think I missed that. Oh my, I think I missed. So, can you hear me now? Can you confirm that you can hear me so I can quickly do a rerun of what I have said so far? All right. Thank you for that confirmation, innocent babe. I'm sorry about that. All right. So, um, so like I was saying earlier on, I was trying to explain to you what our expectation was as during the live session yesterday. And at the beginning of the week, we saw this bearish, sorry, last week we saw this bearish momentum that took price into the $74 level. And since price got into the $74 area, we have been witnessing a consolidation phase around here, hereby emphasizing the indecision in this market. And because of this indecision here, one thing I stated here yesterday is that it is very important that we remain patient at this point, as we want to look out for signals which might likely come in the form of either a breakdown of the structure or a breakout of the structure to the upside to give us that leverage to join either a bullish momentum or a bearish momentum at this point. Well, I told you I shared this on my public platform where I said, because of the continued buying pressure around this area during the early hours of the New York session, I decided to take that risk, buying right above the $74 level. And for those who missed out on this opportunity, we also had a situation right above the $74.50 area, which gave us a the heads to move on to join that rally to the upside. And one thing I stated here yesterday was that we should be placing our take profit target somewhere around the $78.50 level, which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line, which has been holding selling pressure in the last 3 weeks on the US oil. And you can see now that we are at a very critical point in this market. So we were able to close yesterday's trade with over 400 to 450 pips thereabouts. And for those who took advantage of that opportunity, kudos to you for being on standby to take advantage of that move. So now that we have the situation running at this point, what is going to be our plans as we head into the New York session today? Well, if you look at the scenario we have here, we have been witnessing a consolidation phase around here since the early hours of today. And I would like to state here that this is a very critical point in this market. And why have I said so? Well, like I stated earlier, I said we are at the bearish trend line that has been holding selling pressure since last week. That was the first understanding here. Then we also have this bullish trend line which was broken on Friday last week. And from a technical standpoint, whenever we have a breakdown of a structure like this, we expect that one point in time price might likely come back to do a retest of that structure to incite another wave of bearish momentum. Well, we cannot jump into a conclusion that price might be going to the downside at this point because of that bearish trend line. Where we really need to understand what is really going on around this consolidation phase here to decipher if we are really going to the downside or we are going to the upside at this point. Now, another key level around this area is the $78.50 level, which has been a major determinant of price action since last week here. As you can see, we saw how this level was holding buying pressure at one point in time here on Friday. Then we saw the breakdown of the structure, but immediately price climbed up the structure one more time. Then we saw another breakdown of this level. Then this level was characterized with selling pressure throughout the course of last week trading session before we saw the breakout. Then price came back down to break down that structure to send price going to the downside, and right now price is right above that structure. So for the fact that price is right above that structure, we might be seeing a bullish momentum at this point, though we still have a situation where price is still around the bearish trend line here. So as a result of this, I share this on my public platform that taking advantage of buy momentum from this area is much reasonable at this point, considering the buy pressure we have been witnessing right above the $78.50 level in the last 6 hours. So I took advantage of an opportunity right above the $78.50 level, and right before this live session, I moved my stop loss to break even, and let's see how price action will play out from this point. Now, with this scenario here, if you are taking advantage of this move right here, I will be advising us to move our stop loss accordingly to lock in some profit here, and let's see what happens afterwards. Now, because of the situation here, we cannot ignore the possibility that price might likely go to the downside at this point. Like I said earlier, we are at a very critical point. So there is a likelihood that price might take us out of this buy position in such a way that price drops to the downside here below the $78.50 level, where a retest of that structure followed by selling pressure on our lower time frame could incite another wave of bearish momentum. So we want to take that also into consideration. We want to have that at the back of our mind. Also, let's keep our options open just in case price takes us out of this current buy position that we have here. Now, to make things a little bit clearer at this juncture here, I was able to scale down to a lower time frame so that I can see what is really happening around here, and I was able to identify a channel, a wedge or something like a triangle pattern, which is looks more like a trend continuation pattern, which also buttress the fact of expecting a bullish momentum at this point. So this is what I saw here on the sorry, hold on a second, I'm trying to delete this so that we can have a clean chart. So this was what I was able to see here on the 5 minutes time frame when I zoomed down to a much lower time frame. So if you bring out the line chart so that we can have a specific point of connection, so you can see I had this temporary bullish trend line figured out after connecting the series of higher lows here. So as you can see here, I had that bullish trend line figured out. At the same time, I had the bearish trend line here after connecting the series of lower highs here to give me that resultant bearish trend line. And if you look at the structure we have here, we have something that looks more like a, hold on a second, like a triangle pattern, which is like a hold on a second, let me show you, which is more like a trend continuation pattern. And when we have a structure like this, we expect that from a technical standpoint, that price might likely break out of that structure. If that happens, a retest of structure followed by buying pressure on lower time frame should be inciting another wave of bullish momentum. So like I told you earlier and I shared on my public platform, we took advantage of the buy opportunity right above that level, the $78.50 level, after noticing buying pressure around that area. So we joined this trade very early. And for those who missed out on the opportunity here, well, let's see if the market is going to be giving us a second chance, which might likely come in the form of a breakout of the trend line here, a retest of structure followed by buying pressure on our lower time frame. Then we could actually join the rally to the upside. So this is the perspective I'm looking forward to buy the USOil, to join the potential trend continuation pattern along this level. Now, with the scenario we have here, like I said earlier, we will not ignore the possibility of a bearish momentum at this point. So if this happens during the New York session today, that price takes us out of the buy position at break even, break down the $78.50 level, which I showed you on the 1 hour time frame, which also shares a confluence with the support level of this triangle pattern we had here, then the retest of structure followed by selling pressure on lower time frame should incite another wave of bearish momentum. So in as much as we are already in this buy position, we want to keep our options open. We want to be as flexible as possible so that whenever the market gives us that signal, we are ready and on standby to take advantage of that move. So this is my scenario here on the USOil. If you have any questions regarding what I have explained so far, feel free to drop in your inquiries in the comment section and let's see how I can be of help. So for those who are taking advantage of this buy opportunity with me, I will be advising move your stop loss to break even, protect your position. We're already profitable on the US oil for this week, so we don't want to lose out on this on the profit we had made so far. So let's lock in our profit and let's see how price action plays out from this level. So where will our take profit target be at this point? Well, I have a situation here at the $82 level, which is another structure which I'm looking forward to see how price will be relating to that structure here. So well, I will be saying that because of the breakout of this bearish trend line, we might be seeing a situation where price comes back into the $85 level. Remember, that's the very important key level we identified on the daily time frame. Let me quickly show you how important that level is on the daily time frame. So when we scale up a little further to the daily time frame here, so you can see the situation we have on the daily time frame. Look at the $85 level here, and remember we identified the breakdown of the structure here. And from a technical standpoint, whenever we have a breakout of structure, there is a tendency that price might likely come back into that zone to incite another wave of bearish momentum. And at the same time, we are within a strong buy zone, which has memory powers for buying potential since the month of September. So we are within that area. So the tendency of this buy opportunity to push further into this area is still very, very possible at this juncture in this market. So let's see how price action plays out during the New York session today. So like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to read through the chat and see if there are any questions before we move on to the next option. So what do we have here? We have 986. Good morning to you, 986. 784. Hi. 158. Good morning. All right. 421. Good morning to you as well. All right. Amaski 980. Good morning. All right. Kamarakia. Good morning to you, and 289. Good morning as well. All right, in the absence of no questions, I want to take this as a confirmation that we are all on the same page. So let's move on to the next pair. And the next option we are going to be looking at here is the US tech. Now, on the US tech, remember we have been enjoying this bearish momentum since last week here. We took advantage of this move right around this area last week. And during the course of the live session yesterday, we identified a channel right around the 11,730 level here. That is the resistant level of this pair since the beginning of the week. And then we had a support level of this channel around the 11,650 area to give us a channel. So at the beginning of the week, there has been an indecision here where participants are still trying to test waters to see where price might be leading for this week. And remember, we took advantage of an opportunity right below the $11,730 level yesterday, and we had a situation where price came back, takes us out of all the sell position we are in here, and then we started seeing selling pressure around this area. So we joined at this point again as price climbed to the downside at this point. So for those who took advantage of this re-entry here, kudos to you for being on standby. So what we want to be doing next is to lock in some profit. At this point in time, I will be suggesting that you move your stop loss to break even here or somewhere around the $11,700 level. Remember how important that level has been in the last couple of months now. So the next thing we want to do here is to have an holistic view of what is really going on in this market, whereby we need to scale up a little bit to the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, the first thing we observed here on the daily time frame is that price action has been on a long-term bearish momentum, as you can see here. And as a result of this, I was able to connect the series of lower highs to give us that resultant bearish trend line. So that is our major line here for the US tech. Then something interesting happened in the month of June, where we started seeing buying pressure coming in at around the $11,000 level, hereby negating all selling pressure around this area. So all attempt by the sellers to push price below that level has been negated by buyers here. We saw the situation happen here in the month of June. Then if we fast forward into the later part of the month of September, stroke the early days of the month of October, we also saw another buying pressure around this area. But one thing that was peculiar about this time now is that the buy pressure here wasn't strong enough to push price further to the upside, as we started seeing negation from the sellers at around the $11,700 mark since the month of October. And that is why we identify that structure here at the $11,700 level, which will be serving as a major key level for trading activities for this week. So we saw selling pressure around this area. We saw one during the first week of the month of October. It was so strong that it shifted the demand zone further to the downside. So we had a new demand zone at around the $10,500 level. And since then, we have been witnessing buying pressure here. We saw selling pressure around the 11,700. But 3 weeks ago, we saw this impulsive moves we took price to break out of the $11,700 level. The first time in 2 months, we finally saw the breakout of that structure. But one thing we noticed here is that ever since price broke out of the $11,700 area, we have been witnessing selling pressure right above this area. In fact, at the beginning of the week prior to this after this engulfing candle, we saw selling pressure around this area, hereby evolving price action into a reversal pattern. So we saw price come down, price came back again, attempted by the buyers to push price further to the upside. It was also negated again at around the $11,900 area to emphasize the strength of the sellers at this point. So during the early hours of this week, we saw price breaking down the $11,700 area to further emphasize the strength of the sellers. So what we can see here from the current structure that we have here is that price might likely transition into a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure. But the double top structure here is yet to be confirmed here, as we needed to break down the neckline area here to make this a mature reversal pattern. So we have a neckline sitting at around the $11,500 level. So this is an area, if price breaks down the structure, we want to enter our sell position in a big way. So with the situation here right now, what we want to be doing going into the New York session is to really understand what is going on at this point. That is somewhere around the $11,700 level here. We want to see our price action, our participants in this market has been relating to that structure since the beginning of the week to decipher if we are still having that window to continue with a sell opportunity that might lead to the breakdown of that neckline at the $11,500 level, where a retest of structure might likely send price crashing further to the downside. And if that happens, we can be having our take profit target either at the demand zone here at 11,000 or the demand zone here at the $10,500. So let's scale down to the lower time frame. Let's see what is really going on around here, and let's use the structure we are able to identify on our lower time frame to find out what's next, what's line of action we want to be taking here. So the $11,700 level is a major key level that we shall be using to guide our trading activities for this week. So if price continue to trade below this $11,700 level, we continue to remain patient. We continue to remain comfortable in our sell position. However, if price breaks above this level, then we remain patient and look out for our price will relate again. If there's going to be buying pressure above the 11,700, then we want to be buying with a take profit target at around the bearish trend line that has been holding selling pressure in the last 1 year. So now, like I said, let's go down to the daily, to the 1 hour time frame, where we want to see what is really going on around the $11,700 level before making an informed decision here. So during the early hours of today, I was able to identify a sell window at around the $11,700 level. Remember how important that level has been for us on the daily time frame. So let me bring this in a little within the screen so that you can see what I'm talking about here. So we have the $11,700 around this level. So this is where our $11,700 level is. So I was able to identify a sell window here. And how did I go about that? Well, if you look at the previous impulse leg that we have here, after price came back into the 11,730, I used my Fibonacci extension retracement tool rather to take the previous impulse leg, and I identified an area between the 50 and the 78.6% of the previous impulse leg as my sell window here. So I had a sell window figured out around this level. Hold on a second. So I had a sell window figured out at this level. So we took advantage of the selling opportunity here. If you are taking advantage of that move, kudos to you for being on standby to catch that move. Well, for those who had missed out on this opportunity, let's see if the market is going to be presenting us with a second chance to join this decline to the downside. So what we are going to be using to join the decline to the downside here is the $11,650 level, which is the support level of the channel, which price has been caught within since the beginning of the week. Remember, we have a channel here, we have the resistance point here, and then we have the support level, around this area. So let's see if price will go further to the downside in such a way that we have a breakdown retest of the structure. Then we could actually join that decline right back into the demand zone. Remember how this demand zone is serving as a neckline of the proposed reversal pattern we identified on the daily time frame. So if a further breakdown of that demand zone happens in such a way that we have a breakdown retest of structure, then this might likely welcome another opportunity to add more position to our sell trade. So let's see how this is going to play out during the New York session today. So I'll continue to look out for selling pressure right below the 11,650 to add more position to the existing trade. So in as much as we are looking for selling opportunities here, well, we should also take into consideration the possibility that price might likely go to the upside at this point. So, and why are we going to be taking into consideration a buying opportunity? Well, if you look at the structure at around the $11,500 level, you can see how that level has been holding buying pressure in the last 2 weeks here on the US tech. So we saw how this level was holding buying pressure here the second week of this month. We saw the same thing happen here last week. We saw buying pressure here, we saw buying pressure here on Tuesday stroke Wednesday, and we can see price was unable to come back into the previous structure, giving us a clue that the bullish momentum is getting stronger at this point. So what this simply tells us is that if this turns out to be a bullish pattern, so what I'll be waiting for is price taking us out of the structure here. That is, price climbs above the $11,700 level, taking out all the sell position around this area. Then at this point in time, if that happens, I want to be seeing this as a bullish signal. Then a retest of structure in our lower time frame, or probably buying pressure right above the $11,700 level on our lower time frame, should incite an opportunity to join the rally to the upside. And remember what I told you, that our take profit target is going to be lining up with the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. Remember, so we should be having somewhere around the 11,900 and the $12,000 area as our take profit target. So we're going to be looking at our price will be relating to that structure there in order to decide if we are going to be adding more position to our buy trade, or we shall be getting ready to sell if we start seeing selling pressure right below this level to join the decline to the downside. So these are my scenarios here on the US tech. If you have any questions, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section, and let's see how I can be of help in that regard. Well, I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to read through the charts and see if there are any questions before we move on to the next pair. So, Kalmarakia says that he can't hear my voice. Well, I think my monitoring device here confirms that my voice is good. So what I'll be suggesting is that you try to shut down your app and restart it all over again. I think it will be better when you do so. So let me know if things are better. Okay. Farah can make up for GBP USD. Oh, I'm not sure I'll be able to trade GBP USD today because we have pairs we have been monitoring since Monday. So we need to run through those pairs. So if if it's possible that I run through those pairs before time, I will be doing something on the JPY USD. Okay, Farah. All right, it's 1975. Hi, good morning. Okay. Okay, Farah, I don't think I understand what you're trying to say there. Okay, thank you, Steamroller. Steamroller just confirmed that my voice, the audio quality is okay. So, Farah, try to shut down your app and let's see how this is going to go. So, Rover 65, good morning to you. All right, so in the absence of no question, I want to assume that we're all on the same page. So, we move on to the next pair. So the next pair we are going to be looking at is the currency EURUSD, and the EURUSD was quite a very profitable trade for us yesterday as we were able to catch this bearish momentum that took price below the 1.04500 level to give us about how many pips was that? That was about over 100 pips here. So for those who took advantage of this move, kudos to you for being on standby to take advantage of that move. Well, let's quickly do a replay of what our expectation was during the live session yesterday. And if you remember vividly, during the live session yesterday, we had this opportunity running where price already climbed above the 1.04500 level. And one thing I stated here is that we want to be moving our stop loss accordingly to lock in some profit at that area. Then the next thing I stated here is that for those who missed out on that opportunity, then we could be looking out for a situation where price might likely come back to do a retest of the structure to incite another wave of bullish momentum. That was the first scenario. Then the second scenario was the fact that the bullish trend, the breakout of the structure could turn out to be a false one. And I said if that happens, then what we want to be looking out for to confirm that the breakout was a false one is that if price comes back to break down the 1.04500 level, after which a retest of structure happens on our lower time frame, selling pressure on our lower time frame, we want to be joining the decline right below the 1.04500 level, and this is exactly what happened. And if you look at what happened on the 5 minutes or 3 minutes time frame yesterday, you can see what happened here. This is the 1.04500 level. So we saw the situation happen here where price broke down that structure, and we saw a situation where price came back to do a retest of structure here. We saw the first selling pressure here, price came back down. We saw the second selling pressure here, and lo and behold, price moved in our favor. So for those who took advantage of this move, kudos to you for being on standby to catch that move. So right now, going into the New York session today, what is going to be our plan? Well, remember what I told you yesterday, that as soon as price comes back into that 1.03750 level, we want to see how price action will relate to that structure, as there is a likelihood that we could be having a second wave of a bullish momentum happen from that area. And what we saw here, we saw the breakdown of the trend line here. Price broke down, came into the demand zone we identified yesterday. And what we have noticed is that as soon as price respected this demand zone, come back into this bearish trend line, we started seeing selling pressure again around the bearish trend line here, an area which also shares a confluence with that very important key level that we identified on the daily time frame at the 1.03750 level. So for those who are not part of the live session yesterday, let's quickly run through the daily time frame. Let's see how important that key level is, and then we shall be coming back here to make our decision for the New York session today. So back on the one on the daily time frame. Well, this is the daily time frame here. And the first thing we observed on the daily time frame is obviously the fact that price has been on a bearish momentum since the last 2 years here. And besides this bearish trend line is this very important key level I showed you on the 1 hour time frame. And if you go into the past here, you will see how this level has been a major determinant of price action. Look at what happened here in the month of May. We saw how this area was holding buying pressure at one point in time. Then if you fast forward into the month of June, we saw the same buy pressure happen here, but the pressure here appears not to be strong enough to push price to the upside, as it was met with a resistance from the sellers here, which finally led to the breakdown of the 1.03750 level in the month of July. And since the month of July, price broke down that structure, buyers have been unable to bring price back above that level, and you can see here price has continued to trade below that structure, hereby emphasizing the strength of the sellers at this point. Now, 3 weeks ago we had a breakout of this $1 mark area, which pushed price back into that structure, the 1.03750 level again. And what makes this more interesting is that this level also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line, which has been holding selling pressure in the last 2 years here. And now we have been witnessing a consolidation phase around here, hereby emphasizing the indecision that is in this market right now, as participants know pretty well that we are at a very critical point in this market, and any slight mistake here could cost one daily at this point. So we really need to understand what is really going on in this market here in order to make a decision for this week. And one thing I also want to state here is that, remember, we have quite a lot of major events coming up this week, and participants in this market will obviously be anticipating this event. And if I bring out my economic calendar here, we can see what we have. Look at what we have today, at least in an hour 30 minutes from now. We have the harmonized index of consumer price coming up, a very high impact event as well. And then tomorrow we have the harmonized index of consumer price for the euro. We also have the ADP employment, and we have the gross domestic product annualized for Q3. And then the Fed chairman is also going to be having a speech tomorrow. That's also a high impact event too. Then on Friday we have the non-farm payroll also coming up. So you can see that we have this week jam-packed with quite a lot of macroeconomic events, which participants in this market will be looking forward to. And this can be reflected on the chart as a huge consolidation phase, which we are seeing right now, emphasizing the indecision in this market. Now, if we look at the candle that closed yesterday here, we see something that looks like a shooting star candle, a candle which portrays selling pressure at this point in this market. So I will not be ignoring the possibility that this price action might likely evolve into a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure to bring price maybe back into the $1 mark before another wave of a bullish momentum will happen here. So these are one of the scenarios that I will be looking forward to, but we should not also ignore the possibility that if price breaks above the 1.03750 level in such a way that we start seeing buying pressure right above this level, then we might be getting ready to buy the Euro USD. So these are the scenarios that we shall be looking forward to, judging from the setup we have here on the daily time frame. So what we want to be doing now is to go back down into our 1 hour time frame. Let's see how price action is relating to the 1.03750 level, and let's use whatever structure we have around that area on our lower time frame to decide where price might be heading to for today. So now going back into the 1 hour time frame, right back into our 1 hour time frame, and looking at how price action is relating to the 1.03750 level. So here we are. So we are right back on the 1 hour time frame, and this is the structure we have here. And remember the 1.03750 level, that is it here, the purple line on your screen right here. And look at what has been happening around this area in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours now. We have been witnessing a consolidation phase around this area, hereby emphasizing the indecision in this market. So we've been seeing selling pressure around this area, which also lines up with this bearish trend line. Remember, we had this bearish trend line figured out during the course of last week's trading session, though we had the breakdown of the trend line here. Price came back to do a retest of the structure. So personally this morning I shared this on my public platform that's selling right below the 1.03750. Looks promising at this point, and I am already in a trade here, though I'm in a loss at this point in time. I'm still hoping that price will continue to the downside here. So let's quickly look at the possibilities of selling the Euro USD during the New York session today. Now, I told you I'm already in the sell position here, and I'm in a loss right now as I'm expecting that price will continue to the downside from this level. So what I'll be advising those who took advantage of this move that missed out on this at this point is to remain patient here, and let's see if price will take out all the buy pressure around the 1.03500 level. Remember how this level has been holding buy pressure since the later part of last week. We saw buy pressure around this area. So let me extend this out a little further. So we should have something like this. Let me bring this down a little bit. So we should have something like this here. So we have this demand zone extended out. So what I want to be looking forward to is a situation where sellers take out all the buy position here to give me a bearish signal, and this might likely come in the form of a bearish engulfing candle, breaking down the structure, after which a retest of the structure followed by selling pressure on my lower time frame should be inciting another wave of bearish momentum. So for this moment in time, I told you I'm already in this trade here. Well, I will, if you are not in this trade yet, well, hold on a second and let's see how price we're going to be relating to the demand zone, which we have identified around the 1.03500 level. So let's wait for a breakdown of that structure to happen to give us a further clue that sellers are still very strong in this market. So after which a retest of structure should be giving us a leverage to join the decline to the downside. So that is the scenario I will be looking forward to on the Euro USD. However, as you can see that we have been having buying pressure, we have been having a consolidation phase around here. There is a likelihood that this might lead to a breakout of that trend line. Of course, it's very, very possible. Remember, we've been having this demand zone, this level holding buying pressure since last week, and it might actually lead to a breakout of that structure. So if a breakout of that structure happens, I'm not getting too excited. Price might take me out of the sell position here. Then we want to remain patient and look out for a retest of structure or probably buying pressure right above the 1.03750, just like I showed you on the daily time frame. And if that happens, then we want to be getting ready to join the rally to the upside here. So this is what I'll be looking forward to during the New York session to do. So let's be on standby so that we can take advantage of that opportunity when it finally happens. So that is that on the Euro USD. If you have any questions, feel free to drop your inquiry or in the comment section. All right, so let's quickly move on to the next pair because of time. So let's see if I can, so that I can be able to treat the gold for today. So moving on to the next pair, the next pair we are looking at is the USDCAD, and the USDCAD actually moved in our favor yesterday. We had a situation running. Remember during the live session yesterday, I informed you of how price has been giving us bullish momentum since the beginning of the week, and we had a situation running yesterday. So we saw price break out of the 1.34350 level, and we have been witnessing buying pressure from that level. I had two scenarios for buying opportunity here on the USDCAD. Remember, we were expecting one, that's this impulsive move might do a retracement back into the buy zone here at around the 1.33800 level, after which buying pressure from this level will incite a trend continuation to the upside. So that was the first scenario we were looking forward to. Then after noticing how the 1.34350 level has been holding buying pressure during the early hours of this week, I decided to identify the structure, and I said we could take advantage of a retest of the structure, that if buy pressure happens above the structure, and to hit that structure, we identified this bearish trend line here on our lower time frame. Remember, after bringing out the line chart on our lower time frame, I think it was on the 15 minutes time frame we did this. Yes, so we had this on the 15 minutes time frame here. So we did this on the 15 minutes time frame, and I said if a breakout retest of that trend line happens, that will be giving us a confirmation to join the rally to the upside. And this is exactly what happened here. Price broke out of the structure, came back, did a double bottom structure around this area, and price moved significantly well in our favor into the 1.3500 level, that very important key level we identified on the daily time frame, with about over 65 pips in profit before we start seeing this momentum that took price back down again. So at this point in time, we are right back at our entry zone, and I shared this on my public platform this morning that buying above the 1.3450 level is a very good opportunity to take advantage of any other bullish momentum here, and this is exactly what happened in the last 1 hour here. We saw this engulfing candle which took price right above that structure. So if you are taking advantage of that move, kudos to you. The next thing you want to be doing now, move your stop loss to break even, and let's see how price action will relate to the 1.34350 level in the next couple of hours. So we want to be seeing buying pressure above this level to be comfortable in our buy position. So if price continues to the upside from this level and we cite a situation where price breaks out of the structure, well, we should be having opportunities to add more position at a retest of the structure. And if a breakout of the 1.35 level happens, we want to be having another opportunity to buy the USDCAD from that level. And I want you to remember how important I said the 1.35 level is on our daily time frame. So let's quickly run through the daily time frame so that we can all see how important that level has been for the USDCAD in the last couple of months. So on the daily time frame, the first thing we observed here at the beginning of the week was that price action has been on a bullish momentum since the beginning of the year. And the most interesting and the most important structure that we have here is the situation between the month of July and the present moment. And if you look at the structure here, we had a key level identified at the 1.32 area. And if you go as far back as the month of July, we saw how important that level was holding selling pressure at one point in time before the breakout of that structure happened during the later part of the month of September. And from a technical standpoint, whenever we have a breakout of a structure, we expect that price is likely going to come back, do a retest of the structure, and this is exactly what has happened here. And we saw a situation where price appears to be evolving into a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure. And this is what we have here in the form of a double bottom structure. So we have this impulsive move to the downside, price testing the 1.32 level, came back into the 1.35. That is the level I was showing you on the 1 hour time frame, which I told you I wanted to show you how important that structure is. So this level is serving as the neckline of the newly found reversal pattern here in the form of a double bottom structure. So we have a situation where price is back into the neckline area. So to make this reversal pattern complete, we want to see a breakout of that neckline, giving us a confirmation, retest of structure, buying pressure right above the structure, then boom, we want to be joining that rally to the upside. So these are the scenarios we are looking forward to here. So as long as price is unable to break the previous low here, we continue to look out for buying opportunity on the USDCAD. So the 1.35 which I showed you on the 1 hour time frame is right here. So for those who had missed out on this opportunity at the beginning of the week, that is buying the USDCAD, well, a breakout of the 1.35 is another good opportunity to buy. If buying pressure continues right above the structure, we want to be buying it, then placing our take profit target within the supply niche here at around the 1.39 level. And if price moves well in our favor, we should be looking at about a minimum of 400 to a maximum of about 600 pips to catch here if price moves accordingly. So that is the scenario we are looking forward to on the USDCAD. So let's go back down to the 1 hour time frame and let's see what I've been explaining to you here. So back to the 1 hour time frame. So we already have a buy position running at this point. So let's continue to hope that 1.34350 will continue to hold buy pressure here. So if price continue to climb up to the upside, this is the 1.35 level here. So we want to see buyers take out all the sell positions here to give us further confirmation that a reversal pattern has come to stay here on the USDCAD. So we continue to hold our buy position here as long as price stays above this level. So that is that on the USD card. If you have questions, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section. So moving on, the next pair we are going to be looking at today is the USDJPY. The USDJPY gave us some profit this yesterday, though it wasn't much anyways. And remember what I told you yesterday, during the live session yesterday, we were in this sell position after taking advantage of this bearish move to the downside. And one thing I stated here yesterday was that if price comes back up, takes us out of the sell position, buying pressure above the 138.400 level should incite a bullish momentum, which is exactly what happened here. And price moved about how many pips in our favor? I think over 100 pips in our favor before we started seeing this bearish momentum back to the downside. And at this point in time, obviously you would have moved your stop loss accordingly, right? And lock in some profits. So you might have been taken out with a small profit here on the USDJPY. So as we head into the New York session today, what is going to be our plan? Are we still going to be holding on to our bullish momentum here, or we're going to be reversing our stance and look out for sell position at this point? Well, in order to answer this, let's quickly have an holistic view of what's really going on the daily time frame, after which we're going to be using the structure to decipher what's the next line of action at this point. So now on the daily time frame, it was obvious that we had a bullish momentum running since the beginning of the year, and we saw what happened in the month of August after citing that reversal pattern here, which came in the form of a double bottom structure. So we saw the first touch, second touch, and the 135 Japanese yen level was serving as a neckline area. So we saw the breakout of that structure. And from a technical standpoint, we expect that price might likely come back to do a retest of structure, which is yet to happen at this point. But something interesting happened here since the beginning of this month. We saw this engulfing candle which brought price back into the 138 Japanese yen level here. And since price came within that structure, it has been caught within a consolidation phase right around the 142.500 and the 138.00 level here. So this level has been holding buying pressure for some time now, at least for the past 2 weeks now. And I was saying yesterday that if price climbs above that structure and we start seeing buying pressure around that area again, we want to be buying to the upside from that level. So like I showed you on the 1 hour time frame, we bought actually, but price came back down again to take us out of that position. And one thing we have been noticing since the early hours of today is that the selling pressure here is getting stronger by the hour. So is this selling pressure going to continue? That's the big question we want to be asking ourselves at this juncture in this market. Is this selling pressure going to continue, or is just going to be a false one? So if the sell pressure continues, I am of the opinion that we might have a situation that price might break down, retest of the structure on our lower time frame to bring price back into the neckline area at the 135 Japanese yen level, a level which was broken in the month of August. We are buying pressure here could incite another wave of bullish momentum. So let's go back to the 1 hour time frame. Let's see if we could cite any possibility that price might likely come back into the 135 and decide for today. So we go back to the 1 hour time frame. Let's see what's happening here. So right on the 1 hour time frame now, we can see price has been oscillating around the 138.100 level. So that level which has been holding buying pressure. So we have in the last 3 hours now, price has been consolidating around that area. And one thing also that we should take into consideration here is this trend line, which has been respected here. So going into the New York session today, I have 2 parameters that will be guiding our actions here. Now, the first one is the trend line, and the second one is the 138.100 level. So if price climbs up the 138.00 level with buying pressure right above that area or around that area, we want to buy. And if price breaks down this level, where breakdown retest of structure happens, retest of the trend line followed by selling pressure on our lower time frame, we want to be selling the USDJPY. So let me scale further into the 15 minutes time frame. Let's see if there is anything to hold on to here before we head into the New York session. So hold on a second. Let me bring this up. Okay, so here we are on the 15 minutes time frame. So so on the 15 minutes time frame, this is what we have here. We had the previous low. This is the lowest point price has gotten to this week, and we can see there is a struggle between the buyers and the sellers here. Price at this point is yet to break down the previous low, so I want to be considering this as a higher low at this point. So I will be suggesting this. Let's wait and be patient for price to break out of this trend line, come above the 138.100 level, or look out for buying pressure above this level. Then we could join the rally to the upside from that point. So that is how I want to be trading this. Then if a breakdown happens, I want to see an engulfing candle. If an engulfing candle does not happen here, I wouldn't be selling this. So if an engulfing candle happens, price breaks down, retest of structure, followed by selling pressure, then I want to be selling from that area. So that is my view here on the USDJPY. Let's see how this plays out during the New York session today. Now, let's quickly run through the gold. Like I promised Innocent Babe, I'm going to be treating this. So I will just dive into the chart here, and the gold was, I actually shared this on my public platform yesterday, where we took advantage of a selling opportunity here during the early hours of yesterday, and price moved about, okay, the first position took us to about 1,800 pips before that bullish momentum happened, and the second position here gave us about 1,300 pips before that bullish momentum happened here. So now with the current scenario that we have here, well, the first thing we should observe is this. Remember, we had this neckline figured out during last week trading session, where we saw this reversal pattern on the, I think on the 4 hours time frame. Let's quickly run through the 4 hours time frame here. So we saw this reversal pattern happen on the 4 hours time frame, where we saw this impulsive move to the upside, and we saw something like a head and shoulder pattern. We had something like this. So this was the right shoulder. Then we saw the breakdown of the neckline here, and we said we shall be looking forward to price coming back to do a retest of that neckline area at the 1,755 level. And in the last 2 weeks now, we have been witnessing selling pressure right around the 1,755 level, which we took advantage of yesterday, and like I told you, give us over 1,800 pips from that point in the market. Now, one thing that I want to call our attention to, despite the fact we are seeing selling pressure around this area, we also need to take into consideration this demand zone here, right above the 1,730 level. So this level has been holding buying pressure since last week here. So we can see we have been witnessing buying pressure here. And as a result of this, I was even able to identify a bullish trend line. And you can see the bullish trend line there, and see what happened here yesterday. As soon as price got into that trend line, we saw this bullish momentum that took price back into our entry zone at this point. So at this point in time, what I'll be doing here is to remain patient. So selling pressure below the neckline area at the 1,755 level should be giving us an opportunity to sell. However, if price breaks above that structure, followed by buying pressure above the 1,755 level, then a buy opportunity will be a choice we want to take advantage of here, with a take profit target sitting at around the $1,786 level. So, but as long as price continues to stay right below the 1,755 level, which is the neckline of the reversal pattern we identified last week, well, we'll continue to look out for selling pressure at this point. So now, if we scale down to the lower time frame, let's go to as far back as the 30 minutes time frame here. So on the 30 minutes time frame, I took advantage of this opportunity this morning, right below the 1,755 level here. Though I'm in profit, but it's not that much anyway at this point. But if you are taking that move, kudos to you for being on standby to take advantage of this move here. But if you had missed this, then I will suggest that you remain patient here and let's wait for price action to break down the 1,753 level, followed by selling pressure right below this area. Then we could join that decline to the downside. So we should be having our take profit target within the 1,730, but there is a catch here. Despite the fact we have our take profit target here, we need to take into consideration what will be happening around the bullish trend line here. So as soon as price tests this bullish trend line here, we want to be moving our stop loss accordingly, lock in some profit at our desired target, and let's see how price action relate to this level. So if we start seeing buying pressure around this area, like multiple rejection by buyers there, then we might want to join another bullish momentum. Remember, our stop loss is moved accordingly, locked in some profit here. We might want to join the bullish momentum, probably back into the 1,755 level, which might be giving us about 1,500 pips, which is not bad at this point. And if a breakdown of the bullish trend line level happens here, if a breakdown of that level happens, then a retest of structure should be giving us an opportunity to add more position to our existing trade. So this is how we want to be trading the XAUUSD for today. So let's see how price action plays out in the next couple of hours. And I hope I made myself very clear here. And I also hope you mount your screen so that you can use it as a reference point whenever you're about to make your individual decision on the pairs that we treated here. So let's quickly do a quick recap of all we talked about today before we call it a day. So the first pair we looked at today is the US oil, and on the US oil, I told you that I took advantage of a buy opportunity here this morning, and this is what we have here right now. Price as still above the $78.50 level here, and for those who took advantage of this move, I told you that you should move your stop loss accordingly, lock in some profit here, and let's see if price will come back to do a retest of the bearish trend line that was broken this morning, followed by buying pressure. Then you want to be adding more position to that existing trade there. But if price does not go that far and price continue to climb to the upside, then I just noticed the structure here that we can actually use to guide our trading activity, which is around the $79.50 level. So let me put this out here, $79.50 level here. So if price continues to the upside and breaks out of that structure, well, I want to be comfortable in my buy position at this point. Then if a retest of structure happens by pressure, then we want to be joining the rally to the upside at that point. So that is the scenario we are looking forward to on the US oil. Then another scenario I stated here is that we want to keep our options open just in case certain opportunities comes in at this point. Now, for sellers to come in at this point, I want to see price break down the $78.50 level, takes us out of this buy position here. Then price comes back to do a retest of the structure, followed by selling pressure on our lower time frame. Then we could actually join that decline to the downside from that level. So this is what we are looking forward to on the US oil for today. Then we went on to talk about the US tech. And on the US tech, I told you that I already took advantage of a selling opportunity here this morning, right within that sell window. So and I hope that price will continue to trade to the downside. And for those who missed out on this opportunity here, well, let's see if price is going to break down the 1,650 retest of structure. Then we want to be joining that decline to the downside. And remember what I told you about this demand zone here, which is serving as the neckline of the reversal pattern we identified on the daily time frame. So if price breaks down that neckline, then that confirms that very important reversal pattern we identified on the daily time frame. Let me quickly show you what I'm talking about here. So this is the structure we had here on the daily time frame. So we saw this impulsive move to the upside. And since price tested the $11,900 level, we have been seeing selling pressure from that area. So we saw another rejection here again. So this is the $11,500 level. So I said if a breakdown of that level happens, this will be confirming a reversal pattern. A retest of structure should be giving us a leverage to join that decline to the downside. So going back to the 1 hour time frame. So look forward to selling right below the $11,650 level, and we continue to guide our profits accordingly as price move in our favor. Now there is a catch here. What if price does not go to the downside and price continue to the upside? Well, anywhere above the 1,700, sorry, the $11,700 level, anywhere above that level should welcome a buy position here. So a retest of structure, whatever buying pressure above this level, then we could join that rally to the upside there. But I doubt that will happen. But if it does happen, well, let's get ourselves prepared to take advantage of that move. Now, moving on, we moved on to the Euro USD, and on the Euro USD, like I told you, I continue to look out for selling pressure here. I told you I already took advantage of a selling opportunity right below the 1.03750. So anywhere below the 1.03750 at this point is looking very promising. And for those who missed out on this opportunity here, I have told you that you can remain patient and wait for price to break down this demand zone here, and taking out all the buy position along the zone here to give us a signal that sellers are still very strong in this market. So if a breakdown, retest of structure happens followed by selling pressure on our lower time frame, we want to be joining that decline to the downside. Then I also stated the option of buying opportunity here, that is if price takes us out of the sell position here and then breaks out the 1.03750 retest of structure followed by buying pressure, we want to get ready to join that rally to the upside. Then we went on to talk about the USDCAD. On the USDCAD, we have been enjoying a bullish momentum here since the beginning of the week, and price has come back into our entry zone again, and we took advantage of that move one more time. And I've said we are hoping that price will evolve into that confirmed reversal pattern that we are looking for. If price breaks out of the 1.35 level, which appears to be the neckline of the reversal pattern we identified on the daily time frame. Let me quickly show you that so that we can be on the same page here. So we saw the breakout of the structure here of the 1.32 here in the month of September. Price came back to do a retest of structure during the early days of this month. Then we saw this situation where price has transitioned into a possible reversal pattern in the form of a double top, double bottom structure. And like I said, a breakout of the 1.35 level should be confirming that reversal pattern. And if a retest of structure happens followed by buying pressure, we want to be joining that rally to the upside here. So going back to the 1 hour time frame, this is what we are looking forward to. So we already have the buy position running. We took advantage of this move here yesterday. However, the 1.34 350 gave us about 50 pips, 60 pips thereabout before price came back into this area again. So we took advantage of this re-entry around this level, and this is the 1.35 level I showed you on the daily time frame. So breakout retest of that structure should give us a confirmation that the reversal pattern is here to stay. So this is the scenario we are looking forward to on the USDCAD. Then we went on to talk about the USDJPY, where I said we continue to look out for buying opportunity above the 138.100 level. So if price climbs up this 138.100 level, we look out to buy the USDJPY. And if price comes back, we already have a breakdown of that structure. So if price comes below this level and we start seeing certain pressure here, we want to be selling the USDJPY. So this is a very simple setup we have here on the USDJPY. Then we close the day with the XAUUSD, that is the gold. And I told you this morning that because of the continued selling pressure right below the neckline area of that reversal pattern we identified on last week, I took advantage. I joined again after we made about over 3,000 pips here. We took advantage of this opportunity yesterday. 2 positions running there. We took advantage of that move, and I also risked this again here this morning. And for those who missed out on this one, I said remain patient and wait out for price action to break down the 1,753 level, retest of structure, look out for selling pressure on our lower time frame, then you could join the decline to the downside. So at this point, we have in our take profit target at around the 1,730, which will be dovetailing to a minimum of 2,500 pips thereabout. And there is a catch here. If price continue to move to the downside and price comes into this bullish trend line here, we want to move our stop loss accordingly, as we want to see how price action will relate to that structure. So if we start seeing buying pressure here, it could be a reversal pattern, then we want to be joining that rally to the upside. Price takes us out of our position and we have our take profit target again at around the 1,755, which might likely give us about how many pips? 1,500 pips thereabout. But if price breaks down that trend line, then this will be giving us an opportunity to add more position at the site of selling pressure on our lower time frame. So let's see how this plays out during the New York session today, and I hope you'll be on standby so that you can take advantage of these moves when they finally happen. So on this note, I want to wish you best of luck today. I really enjoyed every single moment with you guys. Okay, Innocent Babe, I see you. All right, it's okay. Okay, have a great day too. Vi96, good morning to you. So I wish you best of luck today, and remember, you don't get too excited in the sight of a signal. Whenever we sight a signal like this, we want to hold on and wait for price action to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of that structure on your lower time frame. So I wish you best of luck. I look forward to seeing you same time here, 10 a.m. UTC, 11 a.m. West African time, and let's come here again to analyze the market and get ourselves ready for the New York session tomorrow. Do have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.